It's our year. Hello everyone, I'm here in my dorm room. If you guys didn't know, I go to college. You probably didn't know that because I haven't been here in what feels like 2 years, and I'm very sorry about that. But today we're not here to talk about that, we're talking about hockey. All 16 teams are set, the playoff bracket looks like this, so let's get into it. We've got the President's Trophy receiving Boston Bruins as the winners of the Pacific, taking on wildcard number 2, the Miami Panthers. I know they're the Florida Panthers, but there's another team in Florida, so they shouldn't be called it. Anyway, this series would normally just be very easy to say Bruins because obviously they're the record setters, but you'll get their series this year, and they actually split it with Florida winning half the games that were in Florida and Boston winning all the games that were in Boston. So by that logic, that would then therefore mean that Boston would win because they would have home ice advantage. I think they're just going to win in general. I think the Panthers would give them the best stop out of any of the wildcard teams they could have played. So I think this will be a decent enough series. But I think, Boston is pretty academic. The Carolina Hurricanes, who are the winners of the Metropolitan Division, take on wildcard number 1, the New York Islanders. I actually really liked what I saw from the Islanders this year, especially with getting Bo Horvat. But this Hurricanes team is what they needed to be last year. I think they were just one step away last year from really being that team that could go all the way, and I think this year they've got it. So I think this should be it'll be a decent series, but I think it shouldn't go more than 5 games with a Hurricanes win. Atlantic Division matchup as the Toronto Maple Leafs take on the Tampa Bay Lightning. I feel like I've seen this one before. It's so easy to just say Tampa Bay has great luck in the playoffs. I would know. And that Toronto has bad luck. So it's almost borderline stupid to not take the Lightning here. But I'm going to be stupid in saying I think the bad luck finally ends this year, and I think Tampa Bay's good luck finally ends this year, and I think Toronto is going to get past them because this Toronto team is one of the strongest I've seen in a long time, and Tampa Bay has really been slowing down this season. It's been a low-key slowdown, but still a slowdown. They've been very quiet this year, and I think that could be scary, but in this case, I think it's going to be fairly academic. It'll still go 7 games, but I think Toronto will actually pull ahead in this one. The New Jersey Devils versus the New York Rangers. If you would have told me the Devils were making Metropolitan number 2 seed and nearly won the division, I wouldn't have agreed. They went crazy this year with their young team. Because of the fact that they are a young team, I think Rangers just have that bit more experience. I'd love to see a Devils win here, but this Rangers team is a lot more complete, and overall they are a better team. They have a lot more experience, especially now they have Kane. I think this should be a really good series, but Rangers should get past the Devils in 6 games. I think Devils will put up a fight, but give them a year or 2 and they'll be serious cup contenders. I think this year just testing the waters with them really. Out in the West, we have the Golden Knights, who won the division and the conference, taking on wildcard number 2, the Winnipeg Jets. Hey, Rick, thanks for helping out a division rival. I think this one is going to be a bit of a sleeper, but I do think Golden Knights should fairly academically win this one. They just have like the overall stronger team, especially now they got Quick in the goal. They've never been a bad team. They've always made the playoffs except last year when they were the first team not to make it in, as in they would have been the 9th seed. So they've always had a good team, and this year's no different. They've been a lot better this year than they were last year as well. I think that they should make at least out of round 1 playoff run. The Colorado Avalanche, who by 1 point were able to win the division, so I don't like you guys, take on the Seattle Kraken, who I actually predicted would make the playoffs this year. Didn't really realize that was going to happen. I also had the Flames getting in, and we like to see the Flames not getting in. This is another example of with the Devils, I think they're still a young team and there's potential there for them to go further, but this is really just testing the waters. get it because they're the Kraken. Avalanche defending Cup champions. I think they're going to have a deep run this year. It's not going to be an academic win, but it'll be a really fun series, I think. But Avalanche should be able to handle this one. The matchup I've been waiting for, the old Stars versus the new Stars. The North Stars versus the Stars. So clearly I am biased. This is my team. I am from Cleveland, but what are you going to do? We don't have a team. Columbus doesn't count. So just being able to watch them this year, they have been very different. Last year they were very defense heavy oriented. This year they've been a lot more offense heavy oriented. And they've just been really fun to watch. Of course, Robertson is my boy, and he's been doing some ridiculous things this year. He at one point had more goals than McDavid, which is no easy feat to have. This is going to be another really long, fun series. I think this is, if there's one series, I think it's going to go 7 games round one. It'll be this one. But I do think that Dallas has the advantage in that Minnesota seems to be, they're a complete team. They really are. But Dallas is just that bit more complete, especially on offense. I think they'll be able to get out of the first round, but it won't be an easy first round. Finally, we have the Oilers and the Kings, another one that haven't I seen you before. I think the Kings have actually slowed down a bit from last year. They're not quite as good, especially the main thing, losing Jonathan Quick as goaltender. But overall, they've still looked good, but just not as good as they looked last year. And I think Oilers have only improved with them getting 3 separate players with 100-plus points this year. They've been insane, and I think that this should be a fairly academic win. Maybe 6 games, but no more than. I really don't see it going more than 5, potentially 6. So the quarterfinals, according to my predictions, we have the Boston Bruins versus the Toronto Maple Leafs. Now, I know I said that there's going to be a bit of magic of them getting out of round 1. Yeah, they're not getting out of round 2. Boston will sweep them. I think the only team that could give Boston any real issues in the Atlantic would have been the Panthers. I don't think the Lightning would have gone far. I don't think the Maple Leafs would have gone far either. I think Panthers could do a little bit. But no, if Bruins Maple Leafs happen, it'll be a 4-game series and Boston's going to sweep them. I don't see it any other way. But I got you out of round 2 at least. The Hurricanes versus the Rangers. I actually predicted this would happen last year in the playoffs, which it did. And I also predicted that the Rangers would get past them, which they did. As I said earlier, I think that Carolina just needed one more step last year, and I think they got it. They're one of the best defenses in the league and also one of the best offenses in the league. And I think this year they're going to make the conference final just over the Rangers. I think it'll be a really good game, a really good series, I should say. And, yeah, we're going to go Carolina. Avalanche Stars, a rematch from the series in the bubble, which everyone talks about all the time. Arguably, I'd prefer the Flames series they had last year, even though we know how that ended. Actually, last year in the Stanley Cup playoffs, every single series in round 1 I predicted correct except one. I was so close. But Flames aren't in it this year, so they can't hurt me. Anyway, this one is really a coin flip. There's no real way of knowing who's going to win. It could be their series this year didn't indicate that at all. Some games were like very even keel, but Avalanche seemed to have this step above them. And then there's that one game where the Stars just kind of popped off on them, which was the only game I got to see at home. So Stars have been insane this year, especially at the end of the year, with them beating the Golden Knights at the end, as well as some lowly teams like the Blues and the Red Wings, and I was there. So that was cool. With them ending so strong, I know it was against some lowly teams, but it was also against the Knights, who they actually swept this year, so you don't want to play us, Vegas. I just think that they are going to be that slight edge. Call me biased, but I think the Stars will get past the Avalanche. Oilers, Golden Knights. There's no stopping this Oilers team on their offense, at least. The defense of the Golden Knights has gotten better, and they are a very complete team, but the offense of the Oilers just can't be outmatched. And this will be a really good series, but I'm actually going to pick the Oilers on this one. I would prefer if the Stars could play the Golden Knights just because of how they played them this year. But I do think that Oilers they're ready. McDavid needs this cup. So I think that they will make the conference final. Finally, in each conference, Bruins, Hurricanes. Probably the two best defenses in the league with some of the best offenses to boot. This is going to be a really long series, almost definitely 7 games, and it's going to be really defense heavy, a real struggle of games to watch, and I think it's going to be very fun. It's going to be different to a lot of what people would expect in a game for like the Bruins or the Hurricanes. I think it's going to be very low scoring and very defense heavy, and it's going to be really fun to watch. But as I said, Hurricanes just need that one more thing, and I think they've got it. The President's Trophy curse is real. I'm picking the Hurricanes to get past the Bruins, which I'm well aware this is the best team in probably 30 years. But it could be the last year for the Hurricanes to really do something insane, and I think this is their time. So I'm going to pick the Hurricanes winning the East and going to the Stanley Cup final. The Stars and the Oilers. Now, my dad's a big Oilers fan, so this is kind of what we want to have happen anyway. And much to my chagrin and much to his probable delight, I don't see the Stars getting past the Oilers. I think Stars have the slightly better defense, but Oilers have the much better offense. It's going to be the exact if this series happens, it'll be the exact opposite of the Bruins Hurricane series, because both these teams aren't exactly known for their defense except Miro and Otter on the Stars, and does anyone even know the Oilers really, except maybe Skinner? It's just going to be who's scoring the most, which I know that's what all hockey is, but defense isn't going to be too much of a factor in these games, I feel. And I think you can't outmatch the Edmonton offense, so I'm going to be picking them to get past the Stars. I'm very sorry, but Oilers are going to win the West, which means, according to my predictions, the championship will be the Hurricanes and the Oilers. It's the Hurricanes' year. Oilers will have it next year, I think. But this is the year of the Hurricane. But I'm just a silly kid from Cleveland who for some reason likes Dallas. So I could be very wrong on all of these. I mean, personally, I'd like the Stars to just win the whole thing, but yeah, I don't even know if they'll get as far as I'm picking. It might be bias. But point is, I'm really excited this year. I think that the matchups in round 1 are going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully, if we get something close to what we got last year, that would be pretty cool. Let me know your predictions in the comments. See ya.